Welcome to the Creating Creatives podcast, now featuring our mom and dad.
Hey there, everyone. Welcome to Creating Creatives, the podcast, where we are creative parents raising creative kids. My name is Roy Sampson, and this is my beautiful wife, Shelly Lloyd Sampson.
Hello.
This is episode 11.
Bang, bang,
And
one.
if you haven't already subscribed, hit that subscribe button.
Smash it.
Smash that like
The
button.
like button, smash it.
And let's get going with homeschooling. Today we're going to be
Yes.
talking about homeschooling.
Our favorite subject out there today.
A subject we never thought we'd be talking about 2 months ago.
No, hot topic.
Hot topic.
Yeah.
When did you first find out about homeschooling, Shelley, my beautiful love?
So I found out about homeschooling with my brothers, I think. I never knew anyone homeschooled. Never thought about homeschooling until I was off gallivanting around the globe. And I think my brothers are 8 and 11 years younger than me. So I was a professional young adult doing what professional young adults do, which is have no idea what they're doing. And, but didn't really want to be around my family. I wanted to be around my family, but I was like, I have my own life now. So my brothers were growing up and I had no idea. I think my mom said it in passing and I was like, homeschool, what? Huh? Okay, whatever. You figure that out. And I really didn't know about it. And then I moved here to California. I met you. I met some other swing dancing friends, and a couple of them had been homeschooled. And so I kind of found out about homeschooling from them and was like, cool, that sounds amazing. I'm never going to do it. That's how I found about homeschooling. How did you find out?
I found out about homeschooling my last couple of years of college when I started helping out at a youth group.
Mm-hmm.
So we were doing week-long camps, and I was a retreat leader. And a lot of the kids were homeschooled, and some of the leaders were as well. But some of them, I know one family had 15 kids.
What?
All of them homeschooled. It was the Price family.
15?
Love you, Prices. Love you guys.
15. Oh my gosh.
15 kids, I
Wow.
think.
That's whatever.
Yeah, that's still a lot.
Even if it's 10.
More than 3's a lot already.
I mean, like,
But they all
even if you're off by
homeschooled.
5.
Yeah, lots of families that I knew homeschooled. And then my
Wow.
mom actually tried it with my sisters. One of my sisters was getting like C's in school. And so she pulled all 3 of my sisters out of school for, I think, a month, maybe 2 months, and homeschooled them.
That's so funny because both our siblings, super younger, because you have the same
Yeah.
age gap.
It's like 10 years
Yeah.
between me and my oldest sister.
Same thing with my siblings. But I was like, whatever.
Yeah,
I
but
didn't
my
really
mom
know.
didn't even do the whole thing. She just did it for less than a month, I
Uh-huh.
think.
Oh.
And then, but within that short period of time, my sister, Maui, learned how to learn, and she learned how to learn without the peer pressure of her friends. And she went from a C student to an A student, and she just started knocking it out afterwards because
Yeah.
she learned how to learn, and now she didn't have to keep up or keep down with her friends who were all C students, and she
Yeah.
just started knocking it out. And so since I learned it, over 20 years ago, I always thought that when I got married and had kids, that I would be homeschooling.
Yeah, I remember us actually walking along the beach. We have breakfast at the beach. We used to back when the state was open. And we would go have breakfast at the beach and then walk down the beach. And I remember talking about, I was like, oh, well, we'll get a tutor. Like, we need to put money aside for a tutor. And you were like, we're going to tutor our kids. And I was like,
We're going to teach our kids.
you can tutor our kids. I'm not going to tutor our kids. And then I was like, whatever, we're not even there yet. So let's continue the conversation when it gets closer to that possibility even happening.
Yeah, and then fast forward whoop, to
Yeah.
March 29, 2020. 2020.
How could you forget the infamous year?
Well, it had 19 at the end of it.
Yeah.
So March 2020, coronavirus infests the whole globe.
Yes.
And all the schools got locked down,
Yeah.
and we started distance learning.
Yeah. And it was crazy because our school, they locked down on the Friday. Everyone got their books and everything. I was in Florida Roy was here in California.
I was at work.
And I'm texting him like, you have to pick up all the books. You have to pick up everything. The school's locked down. We're not going to be able to go in there.
I'm like, what?
Make
bugs?
sure you get everything. Make sure you don't forget their water bottles, their backpacks. Like, what else did they go to school with? I would like Florida, trying
Bring
to
their
think
clothes.
of everything. Yeah. And then they went straight online. Boom, Monday morning after that weekend, they were up running online like a full-on school day. It was nuts. And I was in Florida, and I was like, do what you can. Oh, we had a babysitter or something.
Yeah, we had a babysitter.
Because you had to go to work. And I think I gave her some
I
things
was critical
to do.
and essential.
Yeah.
So I had to go to work. I think I worked more when the lockdown started, actually.
Typical.
Typical.
Yeah, and we ended up being a day behind, which was insane because the days were that week I will never forget. It was the craziest, longest, most insane week of 2020 for me, anyways.
Yeah.
It was just stressful. It was like the world is ending, the sky is falling.
Well, because you were adjusting to this whole new way of schooling. Yeah, it's a whole new crazy world of schooling.
It was crazy.
The teachers were adjusting to it. Nobody knew what was going on.
Yeah.
They were all selecting like these online learning platforms,
Yes. Oh my
homework
gosh.
platforms.
We have 3
Some were
kids.
on Zoom, some were on Google Hangout.
Yes. I can't even remember all the names. Seesaw, Blooms, yeah.
All sorts of stuff.
Whatever, you name it, we were probably on it.
Yeah, all 3 of them were on different homework platforms.
Yep. And there were 3 classrooms. They were each on separate platforms and apps.
They
Some
had
of them
3
were
different
on-
iPads. One of them, the iOS was too old.
Yeah.
The iPad was too old, so we couldn't even handle all the software. We didn't know why this kid wasn't finishing his homework.
We had like
Oh, it was Zoe.
the laptop.
Yeah.
And then we had
why
like
were you finishing everything?
we had like they were using my laptop. You brought out laptops. We had like 3 laptops and 3 iPads. It was crazy. And we had like the Zoom calls. I mean, you guys know. We know you know. If you have kids and are listening to this, or if you don't, I know you've spoken to someone with kids. It was nuts. And it was a full day of school. We were because we went back. Some people took a break. Some people had spring break right then.
We didn't get spring break.
We weren't in spring break. Spring break was like 2 or 3 weeks after we started for us. And some people extended their spring break by like 2 weeks, so they had time to prepare for it. And we just went straight into it. Full
right through.
force, full day of school with homework afterwards, online. It was just...
Yeah, we know it
crazy.
was crazy for everyone. It was crazy for the teachers, but
Yeah.
for Shelly, I know it was really crazy because if you had one child, I think it would have been doable because you had schoolwork, which was still structured for the normal day of school, which was like 8 to whatever, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. But then there was also homework right after that was still part of the curriculum.
Yeah.
But we have 3 kids in 3 different grades that had schoolwork that Shelly sometimes had to learn, relearn, and then translate. But most of it is like this new Common Core thing, so it wasn't the way that we learned it.
No, we're like, this, whatever. This is how you're going to learn to add now.
So she had
Carry the one.
so she had to learn it for 3 different grades,
Yeah.
the classwork, and then the homework. So there were times where just bouncing back and forth, they weren't finishing until 9 or 10 at night.
Yeah, it was late.
With all the homework.
It was late. And I mean, I think it was hard on everyone, whether you had 1 kid, 2 kids, 3 kids, 6 kids.
And it was hard for the teachers because they're like, how am I going to get all this stuff?
And for the teachers who have kids,
Yeah.
you know, like it was just an insane time for all. But the other crazy thing with the homeschooling, distance learning.
We're
I
not
have to clarify
homeschooling,
the two. The distance learning was, I would have to print out stuff. So we would be like, oh, Mommy, I have to have this, and now I have to have this, and this is in my workbook, but this isn't, and this isn't, and print this, and you have to get this one. So I was like, okay, wait, what do I have to? I have to print this, and I have to print this. Oh no, and now for Zoe, I have to get this thing, and I have to print this.
We
one.
weren't ready.
And
we had 1 ink cartridge.
yeah, it was crazy. I
We were
know.
not ready for
Fortunately,
it.
we had a printer. Some people didn't even have printers.
Yep.
So,
Kinko's was closed. Everything was locked
everything
down.
was closed.
Is Kinko's still open? I don't
I
know.
don't even know.
Do you guys know where Kinko's is?
Who knows?
It's there with Blockbuster.
They would have been they would have had a good bit. Oh, right. Oh. But anyways, so it was like printing out so much paper and then uploading everything. So it was like taking pictures and then uploading. Some things were at the laptop, some things were at the iPad, some things they could do digitally and they had to do digitally. Some things they could take a picture of it. It was just so mix and match.
Cray.
It was mix and match, yeah. So that was fun. I think we were all like limping. It's like the Monty Python thing where you're like getting all your limbs cut off and you're still like, we'll get there. We're going. It's a flesh wound. And we were just like, spring break, please.
And then summer hit. Phew, yay.
Yeah.
And so we're not thinking about that anymore. We can't wait till the next school year.
Yes.
And everyone goes back to school.
Yeah.
And then we got the news that
Distance learning
we're going to start with distance learning
for everyone in
for
California.
everyone in California.
It was a sad time.
And then I said, you know what?
Cue the sad music.
Maybe you should start looking into homeschooling.
Yeah, and I was like, and I think there were rumors early July or something, and then I think mid-July everyone was pretty sure we were like all of California was starting distance learning, and I was like, let me look into this homeschooling thing because I'm essentially going to be teaching them anyways, you know? So, and I didn't know, and I was waiting and waiting and waiting to find out how they were going to distance learn.
Yeah.
What apps they were going to use, if
Are they going to be all on one app? Or are they going to be on 3 different apps?
If it was going to be live Zoom calls, or if it was going to be recorded videos, or if it was going to be something else. I had no idea. And so we unfortunately didn't find that out until
after school already started.
like right before school started. So I decided, after tons and tons of research and looking at different programs and all this stuff, we decided to homeschool, and we're using the Seton Homeschool program. It's a Catholic homeschool. I checked out a bunch of different programs, and this one I love that it was all in one, because there are so many different programs that are we're doing this for English and we're doing this for math.
Yeah, we have professional homeschool friends that they pick and choose from different programs.
Yeah, I was like, nope.
School
Give it to me all in one. I am not ready to take that on.
Yeah.
And we found it. I sent it to my mom, and I was like, she's a teacher and a really good one. And I was like, what do you think? What do you think? Is it legit? Like, please. She's like, it looks legit. And I was like, yes.
Well, and what's cool is that it's tried and true. It's been around for 50 plus years, and it's designed specifically for teaching your kids at home.
Yeah.
So we're not worried about classwork and
teaching
homework.
Their kid too.
It's about a parent. Yeah.
It's not a teacher teaching their kid. It's like, it's laid out for you every day, for the whole week, for the whole year, for each student, each subject, which was a little overwhelming in the beginning. But now
she got this package.
Got it down.
And she was like, what?
I know. First of all, it was like, okay, just looking at the possibility of homeschooling. And then I was like, I'm so going to do this. This is going to be great. And then I signed up and I was like, I did it. Yes. Phew. That's over with. Okay. We can move on later. Then the package arrives with all the books.
Huge boxes.
So many books. And the kids wanted to just open it up. I'm like, no. They have to stay organized. I need to know whose book is what. And I was so overwhelmed. There was a packet for each of them.
Because it was the whole year. So all the books and booklets and notebooks and handouts were all in the box.
The curriculum, which was like, for Zoe and Zachary, was each maybe like 2 to 3 inches thick of paper that I had to read. And I was like, wait, what? What is this? It was a little intimidating.
Yep. It was school in a box.
And but, I was like, all right, I got this. So one weekend I kind of went through and I just sat down and I was really overwhelmed. And I was just like,
well, mind you, this whole time I was still going to work. So I never actually stopped going to work. So it was normal days for me, and I was actually very thankful for that, because throughout the whole pandemic, it seemed like a normal day for me.
Yeah.
But I would come home, and I would come home to this mad, worn out, I'm so tired,
Oh my
crazy,
gosh.
been stuck in the home with the kids,
Exhausting.
working on all these things with my beautiful wife. And so I was just like, we want a cheese board. Would you like some wine? Oh, want me to pick up some wine on my way home?
Like, yes,
some
2
frozen
bottles,
fruits?
please, just for tonight.
And yeah, so she was going through this huge transition time.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I know is like, it's a complete paradigm shift of the way that you've been handling your whole days. Like the structure of your day has to change.
Yeah.
And yeah, and so I knew I had to be like,
learning curve.
you got to be support, man. You got to be support. Kick her out if you need to.
Oh, you were
Kick her out
good.
the
You
house
were
if you need
great.
to.
No, I really appreciate it. It was the way I handled it was like Atomic Habits. It's like, what's the smallest step I need to do to move forward? That's literally how I was thinking it. It's like I have this stack of papers. Okay, first page, got it. And then second page, and then it's like, okay, I'm gonna start with English, and then I would just go through each subject. I mean, that was the thing there. So there's so many subjects, which was overwhelming because ELA, or language arts as we used to call it, was, you have spelling, vocab, phonics, reading, English,
Penmanship.
there's like
handwriting.
handwriting. There's like 6 subjects in ELA alone, and I was just like, every one had 2 to 3, 4 pages of introductory to the curriculum. And so reading that and then understanding the day by day and how it all works. But then once you do that, you're like, oh, so basically it's just page 2, then 3, then 4, like 1 page a day. Got it. And after I was able to digest it like that, that helped a lot. And then we started.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, here's what we're going to do. And the kids were like, what? We're not on summer break anymore? We're in school.
Yep.
And it was hard for them.
It was cute
too.
though, because we have our arts and craft room.
Yeah.
And they converted it to arts and classroom.
Arts and classroom.
So it was really cute.
Yeah, they were excited about that, but they did not understand the concept of like, we need to sit down and concentrate now. Like, and one parent running around, sit down and get that done over. Like, you're supposed to be in the kitchen working on this. Oh, you're supposed to be doing this. I need to do this. And I was just like, it was a little crazy in the beginning. Not gonna lie, I was very stressed out. But you go through those.
The learning curve. You get that learning curve, and you even out, and then later on the kids catch up.
Yeah.
And then they even out.
Yeah. So the way I see it is that distance learning, I mean, there would have been a learning curve there too, because they would be on Zoom for like 3 or 4 hours a day. And, you're having kids. This is what I assume it would be like just from my experience with distance learning. I haven't experienced any of the sessions this year, but from distance learning, I just, and kids, you just know that they're going to be asking questions or like being distracted. Or the other thing is, I didn't want our kids to be the one that's like, oh, look, I can go under the table and here are my feet. Or like, let me or like, look, I found out all the hotkeys. I can change my name to connecting ... Like I could just see
Tristan is one of those kids that changes his name like every 5 seconds.
Yeah. He'd be like trying to come up with the code name and turning his camera off. And
and also with the distance learning, you'd be in the mercy of the schedule of 3 different teachers for those 3 different kids, like depending on when they had office hours or when they were doing a live Zoom call.
Yeah.
And also the kids would be in front of electronics for most of the day.
Yeah.
Because that's basically what distance learning and online learning is. You're on your electronics.
Yeah.
And we didn't want that.
The biggest decision for me was, one, it was just too chaotic with me with 3 kids, not knowing what their schedules are for the week. I think I knew what it was for Zachary, but Zoe and Tristan kind of every day. A little bit of Zoe, I think I knew what her full week was. Tristan was every day. I had no idea. You understood there would be a rhythm to what you had to do roughly every day, but you could never really get ahead, or, I love getting ahead. So that was part of it. Another huge factor was the Zoom, and trying to stay, once I knew it was going to be Zoom calls, thinking about staying on top of them while they were Zooming, and having 3 separate children Zooming around the house.
3 different areas
I
of
would
the
have been
house.
zooming around the house. Yeah, and having them pay attention and making sure that they understand what they're learning and not drifting off. Like, I don't know if they're actually paying attention or if they're just listening and like staring off in the distance. And the final thing was that I didn't think that they would be the learning would be concentrated enough. And so nothing with the school, it's just the
it's just the unknown.
It's just the unknown, and I think it's just the nature of the unknown and zooming on, through and being a child. It's like you lose I lose concentration. I cannot imagine being on a Zoom call for 3 hours or 2 hours.
I can't even do that at work.
Yeah, I know. I'd be like, what? Ooh,
If you don't need me anymore, I'll be signing
Johnny's
off.
wearing today. Yeah. Oh, look.
Can we go over everything that you need me for in the first 5 minutes, please?
I know. It's like, oh, look at, they've got a cute little teddy bear in the background. I'd be like staring at everyone's backgrounds and like playing,
changing your background.
Who's Who. No. Yeah, playing Who's Who. Oh, look, they're
so
their hair.
after Shelly's transitioned, the kids have transitioned. Now they're getting into this rhythm and this groove where they're starting to pick up like the patterns with their schoolwork.
Yeah.
And one of the things I notice is that they're starting to get a lot more engaged, even with the non-school stuff. They're a lot more engaged in conversation. They're a lot more engaged at the dinner table. They're a lot more engaged at the church.
Yeah.
Tristan was the kid that was rolling around on the floor at church. And I remember taking pictures of him and sending it to his godparents saying, pray for this kid. He's like rolling around on the floor.
Yeah, and on Zoom. He would be the one where he'd be like
His
under the
class was-
table and like changing his name to fire spelled backwards and
when they were doing the distance learning.
Yeah, turning the camera off. I was like, man, this is
going like this to the camera.
Like taking his foot up and sticking his toe in his mouth. I was just like, oh my gosh. I had nightmares of that. I was just like, I'm going to be the one that's having to discipline my kid. And he really struggled with the distance learning. And I think it's because he picks things up quickly. And so he gets distracted and bored. And it's just like, okay. And I don't want him to distract his class. And I also want him to learn. He can't do that. He can't sit down and.
But with the homeschooling, since everything is there, and if he doesn't have anything to do, Shelly can just give him the next thing. He's like completely engaged the whole time.
He has matured so much. I'm shocked personally.
Me too.
I can't believe how fast it's happened. I mean, this is our 5th week.
Just within 5 weeks.
Just started week 5 today. And he is so proactive in getting his work done. Mm-hmm. He will go ahead. He'll start before we finish breakfast. He's already starting his work. And he will go on to the next thing. And today I finally came up with a schedule that I think is working for all 3 of them. So I know exactly what time everything has to be done. I played around with letting them figure out their schedule. I played around with having kind of section like time slots where from this time to this time we do all of these 3 things. It was a lot more flexible.
Well, and what time did you guys finish?
We would finish later. Today everyone finished everything by like 12:30. And
12:30. They started at 8.
Yeah, we started at 8, finished at 12:30, but that was with a regimented schedule.
Homework.
Yeah.
That's it. They're done.
Yeah, and that was a regimented schedule. That was me staying on top of them. That was with breaks for I was like, I wasn't doing breaks in the beginning, and now I'm like, I have to include breaks. And so it's like, oh, it's break time, and then so they go and they have their PE break, and they can do jump rope or basketball or like.
Well, that was funny in the beginning. I don't think we were able to talk about it yet, but you were finishing at about 2 to 3 in the afternoon, and you were getting really frustrated.
Yeah.
Until you realized that you were skipping a day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Each week.
Yes. Yeah. When we first started,
the first week was Zoe's birthday, so we skipped her birthday.
Yep. We didn't work on her birthday.
The next week, I think there was a holiday.
Labor Day.
And then the next week was Zachary's birthday.
Yep. And then we had, I think there was a full week in
There's
there
just
one
like
day. But I was so stressed out. And it took me during the weeks to be like, what the heck? We're finishing at like 5 o'clock at the latest. Like, this is supposed to be homeschooling. We're not supposed to finish this late. And then I realized, oh, we have taken a whole extra day off.
We've only been going 4 days a week.
Yeah, we've been squeezing in the whole week in that amount of time.
And what's crazy is they're still finishing earlier than if
Yeah.
it was a normal school day when the kids are going to school
Yeah.
and still doing homework, which would butt up
Absolutely.
against dinner time,
Yep.
which is usually around 5 or 6.
Yeah. It's
It's
crazy.
crazy.
It's crazy. I love it. But yeah, and Tristan has really, gained this responsibility of, now Zachary will say something, I don't understand how to do this. And I'm like, okay, I'll be there right there doing the dishes or something. And Tristan's like, no, I'll go.
I've got this,
I've
mother.
got this, and he like goes over and he explains to her, or Zoe will be like this. And he just feels the responsibility of like,
And he helps them out.
he
And what's
does.
cool is Zoe has also become a lot more proactive. She was proactive before anyways.
Yeah.
But there was one day where you guys got a late start. I think they started at 10, and so they didn't finish until 4, which is the time to play with their friends.
Yeah.
And then dinner time, which means that they got no iPad time and they got no dessert time because it's too close to bedtime to get dessert.
Yeah.
And you don't want to get all sugared it up. So Zoe started crying and pouting, and I had to explain to her, Zoe, you guys got a really late start, and there really just was no time for iPad time or for dessert.
Yeah.
And so that night when she was going to bed, she said, Daddy, tomorrow morning, can you wake me up early? And I was like, maybe. And then I woke up because I usually get up early for work anyways. And she woke up early as well. She was out of her bedroom, dressed. She had her backpack. And then I was getting
Going
ready.
in from one room to the next room.
Yeah. And then I was getting ready in the bathroom. She's like, Daddy, come to the arts and classroom and help me out. And so I was like, just a minute, let me finish getting ready. And I got in there and she was already doing her work for the day.
Yeah.
And she was like, I need help with this. And so I helped her with that. And I think it was 15 to 20 minutes that we spent. And she was already done with 3 of her assignments.
Yeah,
for
I
that
was
day.
so proud. She came into the bedroom and she was all dressed, and I was like, "Oh wow, you're all dressed already?" And she's like, "And I've done 3 parts of my homework already." And I was just like, "Wow, look at you, Zoe!" I was so proud of her. Yeah, it's great when they take the initiative.
So they're
on that.
just getting a lot more disciplined. They're getting a lot more mature, more engaged.
Yeah, and Zoe is also, Tristan's really taking a lot more responsibility with teaching his younger siblings, but so is Zoe, and I'm trying to empower her more to be like, yeah, why don't you listen to Zachary read for you? And then you can help him with the hard words, And so it's an area that she used to struggle with reading a lot. And now she's turning into a little bookworm, and I'm loving it. And so, I want to encourage them to read. I think it's so important. And she's doing a really great job with helping Zachary be encouraged to read as well.
Well, that's really one thing that I totally
proud
believe
about
is
it.
one of the steps towards mastering a subject after you learn it is if you can teach it to somebody else.
Absolutely.
And now they're put in a position where they don't have to, but they want to teach it to their younger sibling because they're like, hey, I'm the master of
or
this.
I just learned this. They feel
I
that
just
sense
learned
of
this, yeah.
pride, And the other thing that I think is so great is that it's teaching them. They are learning by teaching, right? You learn more when you teach it. So they're learning more.
It reinforces what they just learned.
Exactly. It's reinforcing what they've learned. And then also you get that respect of like, oh, my older brother's teaching me, or my older sister's teaching me, or
They know their stuff, man.
yeah. So you have that respect for your siblings.
Your elder.
Yeah, it's really starting to show. Need to get someone. Zachary can teach the teddy bears or something.
Yeah, because he's still Zachy. he called himself a prankster.
I know. Oh my God, you're in trouble.
He's like, I'm a prankster.
Yeah, he got a fart machine for his birthday.
Yeah, and he's been having a ball with that thing. Every
Yeah.
second he can get, he'll hide it
like
behind something.
Electronic whoopee cushion. Yeah.
Yeah.
That thing is hilarious. Yeah. So he's learning a lot. No. Yeah. So homeschooling's been really, I think 5 weeks. I spoke to my mom when I first spoke and it was just like, and she's like, well, yeah, it's going to take you a while to get into it. And she's like, it'll take you about 6 weeks. And I was like, no, I'll be good with like 2 weeks. Give me 2 weeks. She was totally right, of course, because she's my mom. Mothers are always right when they tell their kids, usually. But yeah, so 6 weeks, she's like, yeah, it's about 6 weeks. And we're in week 5 now. And I just feel like I'm
getting in the groove.
Just getting in the groove with our schedule. And I'm finally feeling a bit lighter and a bit more freedom and more confident for them to do what they need to do, finished by a certain time. And I'm also excited about looking at and trying to supplement what they're learning with other fun ways of doing it.
Well, and you're also excited to learn what they're learning.
Yeah.
Because you're like, I get to review all this stuff.
Yeah. Like American history I'm loving. Science is really cool. Zoe's just starting to learn about the planets. So we got a really awesome planet book for our library from the Smithsonian. So it's like a keeper for through the ages, you know. Yep. And it's something great that Zachary can look at. We're going to do some projects with the planets, and it's a great refresher for Tristan when he learned about that. So and then Tristan's doing all this stuff with the body, and I've seen all these really cool body. You can make the lungs with plastic bags and straws and these projects and really see how it works. Yeah, so I'm really excited to.
It's really involved. Yeah, so it's awesome.
I'm just kind of throwing myself at it and like embracing the homeschooling right now.
Yeah.
And like so
those are our first impressions. Some of our first impressions of homeschooling. Shelly didn't think she was going to get into it. I thought I was always going to be into it, but had to wait until she was ready.
Yeah.
And there's some deeper things that we're discovering as well, like relational, developmental stuff. But we'll save that for later. This is just the first impressions.
I think this will be homeschooling part 1, and we'll continue throughout
later on.
We're only 5 weeks in. I mean, it's still September.
Yeah, we're gonna come back like 2 episodes from now, like crying and sobbing at the camera.
I know, but we wanted to share this with you because I know for me, I was always curious about homeschooling. I looked it up a ton on YouTube to find out how people homeschool. If there's any interest, I can do a day in the life of homeschooling with 3 kids and go through our curriculum.
She can do Insta Live. Yeah. And show you what they're doing.
Yeah. Or put a video together. So there's like tons of things, but let us know your questions. I know it's a hot topic right now, especially with distance learning. I know there's a lot of people considering homeschooling because it's like, well, the homeschooling curriculum really does have it laid out. That's what it's developed for.
Yeah, it's for this platform.
Yeah, distance learning is really not
an experiment still.
It's rough. Distance learning is rough on all sides of, in-person learning is just so much better. And I feel like our kids don't waste as much time on their Zoom calls waiting for other classmates or waiting, then they get for whatever they're waiting for. I feel like the waiting time is cut down. They get the one-on-one time with me, and
the teacher to student ratio is like 1 to 3 at home.
Yeah, exactly. And
2 to 3
one-on-one really when I'm teaching them
2 to 1 if Tristan's helping.
Yeah. And then they learn to help each other. So there's so much I'm really starting to love about homeschooling. So we just wanted to share it with you guys, and let us know any questions or if you homeschool, tips on what you do, because I would love to know, because this is still early days, week 5.
So if you haven't yet, smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, and if you're listening to us on a normal podcast, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and all that stuff, give us a 5-star review so other people can find the podcast as well.
Yes. And be sure to share with your friends and leave any comments. Let us know what you think. And
that is it.
That's it.
Thank you for joining us for our homeschooling episode number 11.
See you next time.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in. See you next time.